Man, let's just say it was a tough weekend for the Sanders boys, if you will. Shilo cut by the Buccaneers.
Set up to fail.
Set up to fail because
by the Buffalo Bills tight end.
Exactly. So if you didn't see the game, you would have had to tune in pretty early to see Shilo Sanders take a swing after the play at a Bills tight end. It might have been a retaliation, but be that as it may, never a great idea to take a, kind of a wind up and strike the guy with your fist type of deal in front of the officials. So earlier midway through the first quarter, he gets run by the officials for swinging at him. And that's it, man. Like, that is his last chance to make an impression. He was going to play the whole game. He was going to play the entire game at safety. They were down a bunch of safeties with injuries. And then, Shilo gets thrown out. And then the Bucs, when they began whittling their roster, one of the first players they released was one Shilo Sanders. And his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, said that Shilo is looking forward to being claimed by another team soon.
Well, let me get this straight. You don't have a job in the NFL, and you're looking forward to being claimed. Okay, yeah, of course.
Right. Like, I would like to be employed. Anybody want me? I just don't think this is great, for him. And he finishes the preseason with 3 tackles. You definitely want to not get suspended and stay in the games. He was going to get a lot of playing time. He's going to play probably almost every damn snap. And then he goes and does this. So we know that Shilo won't be here. I'm not sure that they'll re-sign him to the practice squad. That remains to be seen if he's on anybody's practice squad. But that was really, probably the headliner, I guess, of the releases, if you will.
Well, that we know of so far. I mean, we don't know everyone yet.
No.
And they have until Tuesday at 4:00 to get down to the 53-man roster.
That's correct. And I think what they're waiting for is holding out on the tougher decisions because, one, you don't want to give a good ball player away to the masses until you have to if you decide to go that route. And then we don't know how many of these guys they really like versus they're keeping around for other reasons.
Well, they could be looking at trades too. We've seen a lot of that in the NFL on Sunday.
Absolutely. And if teams get to the feeling that, like, somebody has a player that they just might not get let go of, and you're really high on that player and you're kind of counting on him to start your season, then that creates a lot of leverage for the Bucs and other teams that are down there. It was. Look, this is always a tough day because guys lose their jobs, and I think it'll get tougher. The one thing we didn't see them do was address the quarterback position. And we all know that, they brought in Teddy Bridgewater for some reason to battle Kyle Trask for the number 2 spot. And, Teddy was unable to play in the game because he fell ill. And that's no fault of his. But, I thought for the most part, Kyle Trask went out there and played pretty well. Not great, but pretty well. I mean, he threw some short passes to Ted Johnson and just did the rest. And after the game, he was like, well, whatever happens. I'm prepared either way. He moved the team. He did some things. There's some disconnect here where the Bucs brought in Bridgewater, and there has to be a reason for it, and he didn't play because he was ill. I'm not sure he would have played much, but he was ill, and so he was unable to dress. So I'm as confused as ever. I don't know what they're going to do, but it would seem to me that, if you kept Bridgewater out, it could be, he was ill, so he couldn't play. But even if he could, you weren't going to start him. How much would he have played? Does it matter? Have you seen enough, even though he didn't play but one game, and that's when he threw the 2 touchdowns? Or have you just decided that, what, Trask is our guy, we'll put Bridgewater on the practice squad, he'll be amenable to that because he doesn't have much leverage, there's nobody that wants him. I literally don't know which way this is going to go. I think here's what I think, as Peter King would say. I think they need Teddy Bridgewater to be available in case something happens to Baker Mayfield. Whether that's week 1, 2, 3, I don't know. So in as much as they can't really stash a player anymore, but somehow it feels like at least that, that's what you want. So we'll see. We still got another couple of day or so of cuts. 4 p.m. I think on Tuesday.
Yep,
is when the deadline is. So a lot of decisions will be made.
It will, and it's going to be interesting around the NFL because the other part of this is your 53-man roster is set Tuesday, but all these players are getting cut, which means they're all going to try to clear waivers, and teams are going to start claiming them, and moves are going to be made. So your 53-man roster is not set Tuesday at 4 o'clock. There can be little or lots of changes to your roster based on who's available out there, who you try to pick up and add to your roster that some other team let go for whichever reason.
Yeah, before that, when there were 4 preseason games, and then you'd have the week ramp up, leading to the first week of the regular season, we would always say, okay, let me know who's here on Wednesday, because Wednesday your game check is guaranteed, and that's when I can determine like who's on the team and who's not. Up until then, it's a very crafty game of liar's poker. If you have a good player, you want some nibbles on them, you want some leverage, you want to trade, you want something, right? So why would you publicize exactly what you're doing? These rosters will change. They're going to change a lot. I just don't know. Like, the quarterback thing intrigues me because, and Baker Mayfield's a solid number one. What do they need right now for him, right? Like, what does he need? Does he need a Kyle Trask who hasn't played? Does he need a Teddy Bridgewater who has? Would Teddy accept a practice squad demotion if they told him we were going to bring you up several times until we activate you? Would they release, Trask outright because he's not a free agent, and so there's no waiver claim? I don't have a read on it. Like, most people that I've talked to think, oh, Trask is the number 2, no question, right? And they're going to make Teddy, get waived and basically take a practice squad type salary, and maybe gets activated 2 or 3 times if they need him. I don't know. Like, the rhetoric from Todd Bowles and others has been very suspicious and somewhat calculated, and I don't get a good sense that they love the way Kyle Trask has played, even though his numbers are pretty good, and Kyle is sort of resigned, like, yeah, well, whatever happens, it's in God's hands and all that. I don't know. I get it. My spidey sense says maybe they're going to do something different than what we expect. But we won't know.
They could keep them both. I mean, it sounds like Browns at this point are keeping 4 quarterbacks, which is a whole nother thing.
Oof. Yeah, it is. It's just that when you have a receiver like, Chris Godwin, and you have a left tackle like Tristan Wirfs, and they're both starting the season on IR before you play a game, you're going to lose more players. So I don't know, how many of these sort of luxury guys they can carry on the roster, but it's going to be tight, and it's going to be interesting. And, they got some tough decisions to make still. And one of them is at quarterback. They could carry them both. I could be wrong as rain. I just feel like there's a reason why they brought in Bridgewater. I don't know when they had that discussion. I asked Todd Bowles about this. Did you discuss with him going on the practice squad? He's like, well, we discussed a lot of things. I don't know. I don't know that he does it if he thinks he's not going to make the team. Not to guarantee it necessarily, but it's just different, So the part of me wants to say that they're going to move on from Kyle Trask, and the other part says, well, that's ridiculous. He's the guy that's played the most football for them in this system, played the most in preseason. Like, what would give you the idea that they're not going to make him the number 2? And I don't have a great answer other than Bridgewater has played and, Kyle Trask has not. And at some point, if you lose Baker Mayfield, that's going to be the biggest test. Right. And I don't know that they have the confidence. Like, I've heard Bowles say some things this year and, about how Trask has not practiced well in training camp. He would never say that stuff before. Like, he was such a team Trask guy. It wasn't even funny. And lately you've kind of heard him go the other way. So it's a big mystery, man. But,
well, I wonder how much Teddy missing the game Saturday impacts it. Now, I know he wasn't going to start, but
it could.
But you're trying to make that decision.
Yeah.
And now the guy you brought in didn't play the first preseason game because he was pretty much brand new at that point.
That's right.
Started the second one, but then you didn't get a chance to see him at all in the third one.
Right.
And so now you've got to make the decision. And I wonder how much just his unavailability for that game, and he was sick.
Yeah.
But how much that impacts their decision at all?
I mean, it's got to a little bit. It's part of the evaluation process. I'm sure they would have all liked to have seen him go out there and play and confirm whatever perceptions they have. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. So they've got tough decisions, and then there's the waiver wire is out there if they wanted to bring people in. Lot going in, but I suspect that they'll be kind of quiet through the weekend in terms of announcements. And as we get closer to Tuesday, 4 p.m. with the roster cut down is when you'll kind of know where they're going to stand. It's a talented team. They got to get some guys healthy. They definitely got some guys nicked up, especially on defense. But we talked to Bowles, and he thinks his team is, got a chance, that they're pretty good. Now you got to go out and do it. But they got the quarterback, they got the weapons on offense, and now it's just sort of, who do you trust as the backup quarterback? I think that's the biggest shoe to drop. Do they carry all three? Is one on the practice squad? Which one is it? Beyond that, I don't think there's a lot of surprises, in this roster. A couple of young guys will make it.
Are there any surprise cuts? I mean, I know going into camp we talked about Jamel Dean. Like, could he? I think he makes
Dean's
the roster,
okay.
But
yeah, I think he's okay. Surprise cuts. I mean, to me, the big surprise cuts would be if they released Kyle Trask. I'm not sure there's going to be another player that's a backup. They're not like, Chris Braswell is not going to go anywhere, even though he had a horrific, off season. Like, so from that standpoint, I think it's just going to be, if there's a shock, I think it's going to be a big one. I think it's going to be like, like I said, this receiver doesn't belong, or whoever. But they are playing it close to their vest, and they are going to take as much time as they need to, especially at the quarterback position, because they're not in a way to announce anything. And look, Trask played okay. He wasn't great. Tez Johnson was great. Tez Johnson, and that was the other thing after the game. Like, Bowles were talking about Trask, and he goes, you throw the ball at Tez Johnson, let him do what he does, you're going to be okay. And that's just kind of what Kyle did. Everything's been a little bit dismissive with him at times when we talk to the coaching staff about Trask. So I'm not completely sold that, that he's going to be part of this football team. And again, could be wrong as rain. By the time you hear this podcast, it could be over.
Well, the question is Todd Bowles being completely honest with the media, or is that a different motivational tactic for Kyle?
That's a great point.
Changing what he's done in the past and using the media a little bit to get his message even through more of, we need you to keep stepping up. What you've done so far isn't good enough, not just this year, but years past.
Right.
You're working hard, but, if everything's positive in the past and he's not seeing the improvements, maybe he's trying a new tactic. It's hard to tell, and we won't know.
Right.
And like I said, I don't think Todd's being dishonest, but sometimes you can be a little coy or a little harsher, or sending a message that way too.
Yep. No, yeah, you definitely can, and I wouldn't want to pretend to know what they're thinking at this point. That's why they'll have those meetings and come up with the best solution they can, best team for the Bucs, which may or may not be the best, 53 players, but it's going to be the best for these guys. Look, Baker Mayfield's solid quarterback. He's going to need a number two. I think they need experience. I think that Bridgewater gives it. He left the game before he started, before he played, because he was ill. Baker was ill the week before. It wasn't really publicized, but it's true. So you got some of that going on, and I think, when you're going to carry two players that are inactive, like Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs, then it's really hard to get that extra receiver on the roster. And that's the numbers is what's going to get them. You have some good options at kick returner that aren't receivers and whatnot. I think all of that could play a part of it, but thank God we're through the preseason. We got one more week of, I guess you say practice, not training camp practice, but practice. They have some days off early in the week, and then they get back. Really, the season begins kind of next Wednesday when these guys do the walkthrough, get the game plan, and we have some availability in open locker rooms, and That's what's really fun is when and then you start going, right? You're playing the opponent, and then you play the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And before you know it, you kind of realize what kind of football team you have. So looking forward to that. Glad that preseason is over. Well attended, but yeah, just, not real football. And, that's part of the Trask equation is that he only gets a chance to play in the preseason with guys that, won't be starting. So you got to grave him on a curve a little bit. Anyway, more news throughout the week, I'm sure. And then by Tuesday, 4 p.m., they got to get to 53 men, and they will. And then we'll know what the Buccaneers look like. Going to get to the Rays here in just a second. Make sure you get on down to Breitling Boutique International Plaza Mall. Check out the men's watches, the Navatimers, the Chrono Match. They also have ladies' watches. These are sports watches. They are beautiful, they're durable, and they come in an array of different colors as well. She's going to love it. And right now, Breitling Boutique is doing this promotion to celebrate the NFL's 104th year anniversary. They have 32 different watches, Chronomat watches, team watches from the NFL. So if it's the Bucs watch, you can go on TampaBay.com, probably see an ad with that. It's got the face of the Chronomat watch is the team colors, the red, and it has the logo on it. These things are phenomenal. But listen, it's only while supplies last. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Make sure you get on down there, and when you do, tell them that you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay. Pretty good weekend for the Rays. They take 2 out of 3, but my best moment of maybe the year, Steve, was watching Carson Williams come up. The first night he was there, I don't think he in the game that started the next day. Bangs one, I think, off the shortstop for an RBI single, and then the magic happens, man. He goes yard at a time when it was a close game, and he was able to separate it there at the end, so it was not just a home run, but a clutch home run. That was fun to watch, man. He had like six putouts, I think, or 6 assists and 1 putout. Like, what a busy day. What a dream. And his parents were there and his family was there. That was good theater right there, man. That was fun.
Oh, it was. In his first at-bat, he hit it hard off the third baseman. They called an error on the throw. So he got on base, but it wasn't a hit. So then the second one was his hit. Then he hit some. But that game was 7-1. The Rays were up. That was Friday night.
Unbelievable.
And then all of a sudden it's 7-6.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no. And then Caminero goes yard, and then Williams goes yard, and they break it open. Great. They win 10-6.
Yeah, it's just
to
great.
Get the win. And he followed up Sunday, a rare Saturday off for the Rays with the Bucs preseason game. But follows up Saturday, he was 1 for 3, 2 runs. Looked good at short as well. So
yeah. Sometimes all you need is that table setter. So it's not over yet. They got to get going though. They've got to get going. They start winning series.
Well, they won a series. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cardinals.
Yep.
You would have liked to have swept, but you took 2 out of 3. But you're still, I think, 6.5 out in the wild card. Like it's gonna. This is a key series right now against Cleveland. You're facing Cleveland for 3. This is a team you're trailing. This is one of the teams you have to leapfrog, and you don't play many of the teams you have to leapfrog. So you're playing them, and Seattle will come in next week. That's a team that's actually has the 3rd wild card right now. So these are teams you're chasing. This series, you have to win 2 out of 3. It'd be nice if you could sweep Cleveland. And you're going to have Ian Seymour on the bump tonight. He's going to get his first start. And they push Shane Boz back a day, and Rasmussen's going Wednesday. So with them sending Joe Boyle down, that opened the spot for Seymour to then jump in. It pushes Boz back a day, which maybe an extra day of rest will help him. It's... You look back at this season, and you still got 5 weeks to go, but the chances of the playoffs are slim unless you really go on a run. I mean, at this point, you've got 33 games left. I think if you won them all, you're like at 95 wins.
Yeah, you need at least 87, 88 to be in the conversation.
You got 32 games left. If you win them all, you're at 95. You go 32-0, you're at 95.
That's crazy.
So, to get to 90, you're going to have to go 27-5.
Wow.
I mean, they went 25-9 at one point, but not 27-5.
Yeah, that's going to be uphill, man. No
It's
doubt
uphill.
about it.
But you look at this season, and we were kind of having a nice 4.5 hour or 4 hours and 25-minute rain delay on Sunday. By the way,
Oh
they said playing outside baseball is fun.
I could listen, man. I thought you were there. I wasn't sure, and then I asked you. I can't imagine how awful that must be. 4.5 hours? Holy crap!
So, like, for working for me, it wasn't that. I mean, you're sitting up there just killing time. You're not sitting in the rain and having to dodge raindrops and lightning and move to the concourse and then this. And I mean, for the fans that stuck around, tip of the cap, man. You stuck around through a 4 hour and 25-minute rain delay. And granted, the Rays then put on a nice show and gave you a win on Sunday, so that helps too. But yeah, that was by far the longest rain. I think they had, a 2 hour, 45-minute one earlier.
Insane.
So this game was supposed to start at 12:10, started at 4:35 instead. But they got it in. But you look at this season. So we had a lot of time to kill, of course, during 4 hours of rain delay.
Right.
But if you really had to say one thing that let the Rays down this year, what would you say it is?
It's tough. I mean, I think the bullpen has not been great. I don't know. It's the one thing per se, but
I think the one thing is everyone overrated the starting pitching staff.
Okay, that's fair.
The only pitcher in the staff that's even come close to living up to what we expected was Rasmussen. Everybody else has been well below where you expected them.
And he was limited to 5 innings from the jump street.
Right. But I mean, Shane Baz, Pepio. I mean, go through the list. Has any of them lived up to anywhere close to what you thought?
No, they really haven't. They thought they were much better than they were, at least the way they played.
And that, including Taj Bradley, who they traded. And I mean, go through the list. It's going in. That was the strength of this team. Even as McClanahan wasn't going to come back till May or even June. But, it was like you traded Jeffrey Springs in the offseason because your starting staff was loaded.
Right, right.
And to be honest, they haven't been bad all the time, but none of them have lived up to where you expected. And so when your starting pitching puts you in a hole, it puts more pressure on the bullpen, puts more pressure on the offense. Like this team was supposed to be built around that starting rotation. And to be honest, they haven't been good enough this year. And I think when at the end of this season, we look back and assuming they don't make the playoffs and you do the obituary on the season, you're going to go starting pitching wasn't good enough.
Well, and it's weird because, they traded Zach Littell and he wasn't the worst pitcher on the staff at the time. And
but he's going to be a free agent this year and you probably weren't going to have him back, which is why you
traded him. But by the same token, like if you're not better than the guy you let go, then it's going to affect you somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of that was, okay, let's give Joe Boyle a chance to see what he can do.
Yeah.
And he's not able to throw enough strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's a young pitcher, and you hope he can figure that out, but if you can't throw strikes, you can't pitch in this league. Now, you might be able to get away with it in the minors a little bit, but in the big leagues, you can't throw strikes, you're not going to last very long. So that's what he's got to work on now. We'll see how Ian Seymour does in a starting role now. And then they traded Taj Bradley. They did sign traded for Adrian Hauser to replace him.
Right.
Taj Bradley got lit up today, by the way. He got called up by the Twins and got lit up.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
But it's the one thing that going into the season you thought was a lock on this team. Like the bullpen had some question marks in that. And the hitting, you weren't sure. They didn't really address the hitting in the offseason. You weren't sure if they'd get enough of that. But the starting pitching was like, okay, we can rely on that. But really, if you think about it, that's really what let you down this season. The bullpen's been good for the most part. I mean, there was a stretch there. They were really bad for a week or two. And they've had a few games here and there, but overall, the bullpen's been pretty decent. Maybe not as the best it's been in the last couple of years, but the offense, Junior Camaro's got 37 home runs now. It's the 5th most home runs in Rays history in a season.
37 bombs. Yep. Unbelievable.
And we're not even to September yet. He gets 3 more. He's going to be the 2nd highest ever in Rays history. There's only been 140 home run hitter in Rays history. That's the most. Carlos Pena, I think in 2009 had 46.
Wow.
Next most is 39. So, Camaro's only 30 RBI away from setting the franchise record, tying it at 121, which he's got 32 games to go.
Not as a rookie. You mean the franchise record?
The franchise record. 121 is the franchise record for RBI. He's at 91 right now.
Holy cow, man. What a year he's had.
Yeah. Brandon Lau's been good.
Yeah, sensational.
Aranda had a phenomenal year. Now he's hurt right now. Maybe he gets back soon.
Yeah.
Yandy Diaz got off to another slow start, but has had a good season. I mean, the offense, has probably done better than you anticipated. And it went through a slump there for a while. But overall, it's probably been better than you anticipated, considering they didn't add anything from last year.
Right.
And this is even with none of the starting outfielders from the opening day played for a long time. Josh Lowe's been a disappointing season offensively.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got Chandler Simpson who's showing some promise, and Mangum is a big surprise. So it's a weird season because what you thought was the strength of this team may have been the biggest disappointment.
It's a great point because they kind of like almost built into the cake that their starting pitching was going to be elite like it always is, you know. And then we saw they did go through a stretch, though, where they were getting some, quality starts and they just didn't hold it. I mean, the bullpen had its time, right, where they blew up.
The start of that slump, or after the 25-9,
right,
the bullpen blew some games, no question.
Right. But that's going to happen. You just have to stop the bleeding somehow.
Yeah. I mean, you can go through a bad week, okay. I mean, that happens in baseball.
Yeah.
Like, people get up in arms, you lose a game. Oh, you had to win that. It's like, I had a 162.
Yeah.
And you've been around those teams, and I've been around those teams too. Like, even when you think, oh, that's a horrible loss, this is where the slump's going to start. Like, they play 162 games. They know how to shake those off. Like,
right.
One bad loss. If one bad loss puts you in a tailspin,
oh God,
because you feel like, oh, that was a horrible loss, like that, you're a pretty weak team mentally. Like, I mean, it's not to say that a loss doesn't lead to a second one, but like, if one loss puts you in a tailspin because you blew a lead, like, then you weren't a very good team to begin with. Because baseball players know that. I mean, the best teams in baseball history lose 40 games. Like, the best teams in baseball history are winning less than 3 out of every 4 games.
Right.
Like, you don't win them all. You never have. It's not like football where you could have a shot to go 17-0. Most teams don't. I mean, only one team's finished regular season and postseason undefeated ever.
Right.
But it's interesting when you really look at the Braves or the Rays team. Braves are on the Sports Center here. Rays team that that what we thought was the strength. Maybe where you're looking, is it going to be better next year, or do they have to make some moves?
I think they have to make. I don't think you can stand pat. I think they have to make some moves, and then it'll depend too on when this new ownership takes over and what their parameters are and all of that. But they got a hell of a lot of good players and good prospects.
Yeah. Well, but the question is, is Pepio going to take another step?
We don't know.
Is Shane Baugh going to be more consistent? Can
That's
Joe
right.
Boyle throw strikes? Can and McClanahan,
can he pitch at all?
Can he come back? And what's he going to be like after, what's it, 2-3 years, whatever it is now that he hasn't pitched? I mean,
yeah.
So they have, surprisingly, they have a lot of question marks there. And it'll be interesting what Eric Neander in the front office, what moves they decide to do or where they position players.
Well, and how much does this new ownership and the sale, which we're kind of hearing might be around September 15th or thereabout, like how much does that affect the entire calculus? In other words, are we sure that you're not going to have a managerial change if maybe for whatever reason Cash said I'm done, or would they terminate some? I mean, it's just there's a lot of uncertainty there, I think, still.
Look, it's 2 straight years of not making the playoffs.
Right.
Now, most
not
franchises
trending well, right? Trending badly.
Right. Now, and this year, as of now, is worse than last year.
Right.
I mean, you finished 2 games below 500 last year. You're 4 games below 500 right now?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's going to be very interesting. And I think, what happens down these last 5 weeks will be important too. How does Carson Williams look? How does some of the pitchers perform, including the bullpen guys?
Right.
Does Jonathan Aranda come back, or is he able to come back? And how these guys do down the stretch are going to be important. And then, what they work on in the offseason. A lot of these guys are young too, where they're not at their ceilings yet either. So it's figuring out, are they capable of taking the next step? And what the Rays asked them to work on this offseason. Chandler Simpson, phenomenal on the base pass and that, but still needs to work defensively.
Yeah.
And by the way, twice this week he got picked off and stole a base.
Yeah, no, that was bad.
Yeah, but you got to quit getting picked off by left-handers, man. I know you're fast, but you got to read that move a little better.
That's right. Like, he's right in front of you. Like, you literally are watching him throw over here, right?
Yeah.
Lefties are crafty, though. They cheat. I don't know if you know this, but
absolutely.
the left-handers cheat all the time. They don't break any plane and commit to home plate. They just they'll fall off at the last second, and then they'll stumble towards the plate. Like, hey, I mean, I was throwing home. It's like, wait a minute, no, you weren't. You were not. But yeah, it's funny, man. Look, it's really interesting, and I think hard as a Rays fan to follow this team sometimes. But if you look at the young talent they have, right? You look at Williams, you look at some of the young guys they brought up, the Chandler Simpsons and different guys. Like, the cupboard is not bare, Like, they obviously need some more starting pitching. Doesn't every team? Their bullpen was unsettled at best for a while there. Like, there's a reasons why they're in the position. And I was listening to an interview with Eric Neander, and he's like, this is from several weeks ago, almost probably a month or so ago, talking about the trade deadline. And he's like, look, we feel like we can get better for the future, but also give guys a chance, in this environment to win, and, kind of work out of things. And just at times they were slow to make changes, and yet I think they liked the vibe of their team. I think, they felt like these guys could turn it around, and he was trying to thread the needle between, we're going to lose some guys, we're going to pick some guys up that's going to help us, and people need to keep an open mind about it. And like, it was just basically trying to thread the needle. And sometimes that's hard to do, but if the Band-Aids get ripped off, this team has a chance. It has a chance.
Well, and they traded for guys like Baker and Jax, who they have under team control for next year. Like, it's not like these were rentals.
No.
Hauser may be. I mean, he's a free agent.
True.
But everybody else, it's it was also about next year and the year after.
It was, yes.
And so while Baker struggled early, he's been much better of late. Griffin Jax hasn't been as good as you hope, but whether it's the change of scenery, whatever it is, like, you still have him next year, full spring training and all that.
Yeah.
So it'll be different. So we'll see how this goes. But I mean, Neander and his team do have a lot of work to do, because what you thought was going to be the best part of your team turned out to be a weakness.
I know.
And some of it was McClanahan never came back. You had hoped he was coming back.
Yeah.
And as much as we raved about that starting staff had no injuries, and they really haven't all year.
They haven't. And they probably pitched more than they ever have, right?
Yeah, but they haven't been as good as you hoped. Like,
true.
Struggle to get, shut down innings after you score. And, just it's been frustrating to watch, because, like I said, that's what you thought was the better part of the team, the strength of it, the part you didn't have to worry about.
Yeah.
And
it's a great point. It's a great point. Your strength needs to be your strength, and they haven't had the sort of dominant pitching performances they need. And when you don't have a high payroll and you got to play defense, like, it's got to happen for you. So interesting week, interesting weekend. We had some college football too. Did you see
Farmageddon?
Your boy Rocco Becht getting it done for Iowa State over Kansas State.
Good to see Anthony on TV over there.
It was awesome, man. His wife was there, his family. Like, I can't, like, my heart bursts with pride thinking about how proud these people are to watch their. Can you imagine? I mean, I used to go to East Lake High School and see my son, get in on a few defensive series, and I was like over the moon happy about it. I can't imagine. Hey, we're going to go to Dublin. We're going to watch our son play quarterback again for Iowa State against, Kansas State. It's a huge game. And then he's going to pull it out the end, and, everybody's happy. Like, that's crazy, man. But it was good to see college football was back. I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed that game. Entertaining game, which you don't always get.
It was very entertaining. Kansas State probably played the better game, but
I thought
Iowa
they did
State
too.
made the plays.
Yeah, Iowa State made the play right down to like the 4th down play, and Beck said he got a couple audibles in the huddle, and he chose the right one, and they were able to finish out the game. So, God, I love college football. I love them. So glad it's back.
And now we're at week 1.
Oh man! And you talk about is anybody going to talk about anything but 1 versus 2 to kick off the college football season? I mean, it's incredible.
Well, you have 3 top 10 matchups this week.
3 of them, yeah.
I mean, you got LSU, Clemson,
right?
And you got Notre Dame, Miami on Sunday.
When you think about them, everybody's talking about Texas, Ohio State.
Yeah.
I mean, it's delicious.
It's going to be a great week 1, and then Thursday night you got USF hosting Boise State, which should be a really good game.
Yeah, Boise's pretty good, right? You got Dirk Cutter coming back into his old stadium, right?
Yeah, they were in the playoff last year, and they're predicted to be again this year. So,
right, it's a tough test for USF. USF's first 3 games are insane.
Boise State at home, then at Florida, at Miami.
I mean, what are you doing?
They could be 0-3 and be the American champion. I mean, but start 0-3.
It's crazy, right?
And not be bad losses. I mean, they could be great games and start 0-3 and be a really good team.
Yeah. Well, if you win 1 or God forbid 2, look out, because they will have arrived at that point. But what a tough start to a season. Alex Golish is a brave man. Yeah. Whoever set those schedules up years before he came there, probably not too thrilled with it. But
we'll hear all about it on Thursday's show as Matt Baker joins.
Matt Baker. Yeah, man. Of The Athletic, New York Times. He's a big shot now. He went big time. You know that, right?
Oh, I do.
Yeah. That's why we haven't had a chance to talk to him very much. But we got Matty Ice back on this week. Talk a little college football. Oh, boy. It's going to be great. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to more cuts coming up. Look, we didn't talk about a lot about what's going to happen to the backup, but I still think there's some procedural moves there. Maybe some.
We'll get into that more tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, big moves, but we're still waiting for that shoe to drop. So until they have to cut down their rosters, Tuesday 4 p.m. That's when we'll know sort of who's hanging around and who's not. Get on down to Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Make sure you tell them that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. Look for the Navatimers, the Chronomats for the men's watches, the women's watches as well. And right now, while supplies last, 32 NFL different team watches. I got the colors on the face, the logos, you name it. These things are beautiful. Go to tampabay.com. Check out the Bucs watch as well. It's Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. Hey, thanks for listening, everybody. For Steve Versnick, I'm Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day.